What's up, everybody? This is Inside the Pocket podcast. It's an NFL podcast run by a Eagles and a Texans fan. I'm a Texans fan. The Eagles fan, Georgeville, my co-host, sadly isn't here today. Wasn't able to make it. Personal reasons that will not be discussed on the podcast. But yeah, he's not here today. He will be here eventually, sometime later in the season, maybe in the preseason. We'll see. To be determined. Um. Anyway, let's get into the topic of this first video, which is CJ Strouds' first preseason game. It was it was a rough one, not gonna lie, but CJ went out there and he showed promising things. Things we don't see from our other quarterbacks, Davis Mills and Case Keenum. We just don't see them. Um, Athletic type of things that were questioned of CJ in the draft process, and I feel he's really silenced the critics on that part of his game. But let's just get into it. Here's clip one, or this is gonna be all his clips through the preseason game. Here's the first play. It's simple, just a little quick dump off to Nico Collins, who then bodied Christian Gonzalez. Then the next two plays, we're just gonna have handoffs. Simple quarterback stuff. It's the basics. Don't notice anything inherently wrong with his footwork here. It seems fine for handing the ball off. Now here is where things start to get evident. The pattern of this game starts to show. CJ Stroud hits the dust. And why does he hit the dust? Because we have plumbers in there at O-line. People that should not be in the league and probably will not be in the league in a couple years in there, uh, attempting to protect our franchise quarterback for years to come. Um, and and this is, I feel, somewhat foreshadowing for what happens later in the game. I wouldn't even say later in the game, a few minutes later. Um, in two ways, but we'll see. Let's just continue watching. There's one of the ways it foreshadows. Um, you see the pocket breaking down, and CJ escapes it no issue really. He's keeping his eyes downfield, but he feels the pressure and he's able to, do that little spin. And I feel like that's not being talked about enough. That mobility is not there at all with Davis Mills or Case Keenum. Davis Mills is going to the ground there. Point blank. Period. He's not fast enough. He's not athletic enough. He's not. You know, he, there's some people that are out there on the field and you just see them and they're just football players. They're gonna go out there and play football. Davis Mills is not one of them. You're not gonna go out there and see Davis Mills slinging a rock and juking people out or making plays. He's Davis Mills. He is what he is. He'll be a solid backup, but he is what he is. Um, not a football player like Will Anderson or Tank Dell or CJ Stroud. He just is what he is. Um, but yeah, so CJ, he really showed some mobility there that I liked, and I think that's promising. That's something that we want to see. And here's the pick. Um, we'll take another look at it. Try and go through what CJ's process was. So CJ, it's 3rd and 21. He has all the time in the world in the pocket. I'm not gonna lie. One of the only players where the O-line actually did something. So he has all the time in the pocket for this throw, and he's sitting there, 3rd and 21. The kid's a rook. He's thinking he's got to make a play. He has the receiver open in the flat, and I'm sure he knows it. But he thought he had something. Kid's young. I'm not gonna act like it wasn't a terrible play. it's an awful play, and plays like that can't happen in the season. You need to dump that off to Dalton Schultz in the flat. But it was the correct read, apparently, according to Next Gen Stats or whatever it was. It was apparently the correct read, but he stared it down for way too long, especially in that pocket, which is something a little bit surprising considering, considering how CJ had been playing in training camp, and reports from people like DJ Bienimi. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry, but reports were that he's really improved on getting that ball out quickly, and we just didn't see it here in this play, and it's really a tragedy how he just kind of stared this thing down, and threw the pick. It's not something you want to see, but the good thing is he's a rook. Things like this are gonna happen. He's young. The quickness of the NFL game is unlike college. It's way different, especially for a quarterback. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there, and we'll see how he does next series, which was a bit more of the same, I would say. Handoff here. The offense did look promising. The offensive scheme, I'll admit. There's a drop ball. Not CJ's fault, but also that's not a pass that I really want to see from CJ there, because you're killing your running back. He's going to get lit up by that corner coming down. And I don't know. I just think maybe a throwaway there is a smarter idea. But, I'm picking and choosing here. He put the ball in the receiver's hands. Let the receiver make a play. Can't be too mad at him for that. The receiver dropped the ball. I believe it was Devin Singletary. And another drop pass, but CJ, it was a little quick. Not an easy pass to reel in. He was under pressure again, as you'll notice. It's the reoccurring theme here. CJ stumbles there. Completes a nice pass. That was a solid throw. Let's go back and look at it. Under pressure, because, of course, look at that. He has really no time, but he delivers a nice pass. It's a 10-yard pass in the air. Probably around that distance. It was a good pass. No one's open. He took a lot of time there. But once again the pocket collapsed. And that was CJ Strouds' last play. So I think the big takeaway here is there really is no big takeaway. We didn't see much of CJ Stroud because I feel D'Amico saw the state the O-line was in, the state the O-line was playing in, and he made a business decision. He made the business decision to take CJ Stroud out of the game, and to me that's showing that I think D'Amico, although he won't say it, he does view CJ as the starter, and that CJ is going to start week 1. I think if he had questions about CJ more, well, he does, obviously, but if he had a higher, if he had high questions about CJ, like high concerns, I think he would have left him back in that game. He would have kept him in the game, not taken him out. Because that's what you do to your starters. You take him out of the game. You don't want him getting hurt. Obviously you don't want CJ Stroud getting hurt, but the kid's a rook. If you have high concerns in him, I personally, I'm keeping him in the game. So to me, it's looking like this is setting up a week 1 start for CJ Stroud. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this. CJ, not a terrible performance, but not a great one either. Definitely not a great one. There's a lot of room for improvement, and happy to see how he plays the next preseason game. Catch y'all on the next one. Probably be a couple days or so. Peace, y'all.